best friend told me, you know, and the reason she is my best friend, she told me something which I think is very smart, which I think we all need to remember. She said the important thing is you don't see a problem. And you know, when you look in the mirror, you're fine, and that's the important thing, is what you think of yourself. And it also reminded me of one of my favorite phrases, which is, we see the world as we are, not as it is. So I was able to get back to a place where I kind of, you know, had to tune people out and water off a duck's back everyone's comments, and just remember that what's important is what I think when I look in the mirror. But it made me upset from the angle that I'm a pretty tough person and I can handle a lot of things, and I think the fact that I've survived in LA for almost 13 years tells you something. But there's people who can't, and there's people who take in things that you say to them very deeply, and words are very powerful, and they're almost more powerful than throwing a rock at someone, or you know, being harsh with someone in a physical manner. And I think that we need to stop going up to people and saying things like that, like it's okay, like it's a matter of fact, you know, like it's a comment, like how beautiful is a day. You know, it's, for me in my world, it's not okay to talk to people that way and to tell them their opinion unless you have concerns for their health. So that's kind of what I'm trying to put out into the world, you know, a little attention on, you know, thinking a little bit before we speak. I feel like as a society we have to take responsibility, you know, of what we're teaching. I don't have kids, but I have friends with kids who are like my nieces and nephews, and I have 7 nieces and nephews, and to me it's like we have to take responsibility for what they're seeing and what they're fixating on. You know, we can't say that they're coming up with these things on their own. We as a society are creating these body images. We're creating these eating disorders, and we have to take responsibility for it. And I think that the most important reason I wanted to do this episode was I wanted to showcase women who I know personally firsthand, and who have toured with me with the plane, who I've been around, and whose eating habits I've watched, and range from everything from someone with a very high metabolism who can eat anything she wants and her body stays the same, to someone who eats maybe a little bit more than her, who's heavier, to me who's a normal sized woman, to, you know, Mary Queen, who's also a sized woman. Showcase these women who have their bodies that are not quote unquote, you know, the perfect, and some do, and yet it's okay. They're not women who are fixated on a strict regimen, you know, constantly exercising, trying to not allow their bodies to become what a body is supposed to be, which is a woman's body. I feel like we're supposed to have breasts, and we're supposed to have buttocks, rear ends. We're supposed to develop into something, and I feel like people try to keep, you know, people try to stop that by keeping this perfect size 2, size 4, whatever it is now. Who knows? You can't keep track anymore. It's probably a 0 now, which, by the way, is so not true. You can be beautiful at any size, and I think the women in this episode will show you that. I think you gotta look in the mirror and you gotta say, you know what, I'm here today, I'm alive, my body is what it is. I can have a bad day about it, I can have a good day about it, but the important thing is that it functions and it does its primary things, which is allow you to walk and breathe and be there to, you know, do what it is that your heart desires. And the exterior is going to change as we keep going on in life. So my whole thing is don't focus too much on that, and love it the way it is, and confidence comes from within, and when it does come from within, it radiates, and people will notice that when you walk into a room.
I think that people forget that mental health is a huge part of health in general, and it's not okay to make yourself crazy over whether you're good enough, whether you're eating something that's right or wrong. I don't believe that food is good or bad. It's not, there's no moral value attached to it. I think there's a new, I don't know if it's a movement, but maybe it is. It's called Health at Every Size. They abbreviate it to HAES, H-A-E-S. And it's about doing as much as you can, doing the best for you. It's sort of encompassing because I think a lot of people, we ignore people who are disabled and things like that. Like it's really ableist to think like, oh God, your life must be so terrible if you have no legs, if you weigh 400 pounds, if you X, Y, and Z. But there are people out there who live these lives, and maybe things would be nicer. They probably would if things weren't that way, but you can't deny them the ability to have a fulfilled life. You are who you are. You don't have, you can't really pick and choose something else. This is what you get, and it's up to you what you do with it.
I was constantly up and down all the way up until about maybe even a year ago. And I had to embrace myself like now I'm embracing myself as a completely new individual altogether. It's not about how thin I am, how big I am, how the world perceives me. It really is about my health and how I take care of myself on the inside, how I view myself, because all the day long, I don't care how small you are, I don't care how big you are, it's what you feel about yourself and what you say about yourself, and that's something that starts in your mind. And from your mind and from what you speak, that shows, and that's something that's called confidence. I don't care what you look like, it is the confidence that can step into the world at any time. You can be broke, you can be rich, anything. Confidence is the #1 thing that I would recommend for anybody to have, because that's taking precedence in the world. That's saying that I am comfortable with myself, I am comfortable with where I am. And then when you decide to take that stand for yourself and be confident about who you are and where you are, that's when things begin to change. It's not something that you have to look for, it just happens.